The Degenerate Gamblers, man, we got a stacked show today. Uh, if you've been with us, you saw what we did last weekend. You saw what we did yesterday. What was the word of the day? Underdog? Was it underdog, I think? Yeah, it was. It was underdog. Listen, if you locked in to the show, what was it, 2 days ago, 3 days ago? You saw that I talked a little about the University of South Florida Boise State game. Kind of gave you a hint. Gave you a hint with underdog, who I love. That was my favorite game yesterday. Love University of South Florida. They beat Boise 34-7. Wasn't even close. Was all over that. We talked a little bit. I can't even talk. I had so much coffee about University of Central Florida, UCF. Talked about Jacksonville State, how I liked them out of Conference USA. They covered fairly easy, lost by 7. What was the word of the day? Underdog. Okay? Then we go into Wisconsin, play Miami of Ohio. Word of the day? Underdog. Miami of Ohio covered fairly easily. And again, Rutgers. We talked about Rutgers. And that was a game that I was wrong on as far as the total over-under. I thought it would be under. It went over. But again, I like the dog. I did like the dog. And that was a very close game. I think Rutgers held on by 3. They're in for a tough year. They're in for a tough year in that conference. There's no doubt about it. I got my boy Mehu Patel. I just sent him the link. Because he's coming out for NFL football, and if you got to listen to this, you're going to get some wise information for this season coming up. So yeah, we had it yesterday. We had Nebraska winning the game, and we parlayed them with the Wisconsin Miami of Ohio under. We nailed that. Also, we nailed a 5-unit baseball game yesterday. So what did we put us up? We were up like 9 units yesterday, I think, all in. But now we have Friday. Now we have Friday, and I'm going over this quickly. Listen, if you like what you heard, if you've seen what we've done the last 2 weeks in a row, starting out this week, we're on fire. Guys, go to WHOP.com, WHOP.com. Join the Degenerate Gamblers. Just go to How We Do on YouTube. You can join right there. We're all over Twitter. We're all over Instagram. We put up everything that we do. We have a great Discord. That's what it's all about, the guys on the Discord, because everyone's going back and forth about what they're playing, what plays are good, what they like. And this brings us to Friday. And here we go. Friday is a loaded slate. And again, I'm going to give you the word of the day. Underdog. Please remember that, especially early in the season. This is like every year. We usually start off very well because we are on all of the dogs, most of them. We got 7 o'clock game at Wake Forest. Kennesaw State was one of the worst programs in the country last year. If you watched them as much as I did, they were always on, Tuesday night, Thursday night. They fired their coach. And I'm not saying he did a bad job. He got that program started. But they went a different direction. It looks to me like they have a bunch of solid players in there. They got a lot of transfers. This transfer portal is insane, and it does help certain mid-majors like a Kennesaw State. But they're going to Wake Forest. Wake Forest, and I said this before, is one of those teams in the AC4 that is going to get they're going to get their ass kicked in on a yearly basis. This school does not have the money to bring in studs to this tiny school in North Carolina. Basketball, yeah. Basketball, you need 2-3 good players, a couple role players, and you can beat anybody. Not football. Football, you have to have depth. You need 30 guys. And Wake Forest this could be a close game tonight. This is one of those games where Kennesaw State's plus 700. I'm not saying they will win, but they could win. And if you like a value win, but you could put a little bit on Kennesaw State plus 700. But I like them to cover the 17.5. I think there's a good chance. Staying with the underdog situation, you go into the next game. Western Michigan, another MAC team. They look good yesterday. The MAC looked good yesterday, covering on all fronts. Uh, you have Western Michigan playing at Michigan State, 7 o'clock game. Spread's 20.5. By a point, get it to 21.5. Take the dog. I mean, I don't think Michigan State's turned this program around yet. Remember 2 years ago, all these guys went to jail. That was a nice fight. They kicked them all off. This is a new program, brand new program. Uh, this is another weird line. Here, I'm going to give you the weirdest line Friday, and that is Appalachian State at Charlotte. Charlotte's only a +3.5 dog, and they were +5.5. Now it's down to +3.5. This line smells. This line smells so bad. This line tells me Charlotte's going to win at home. Charlotte's going to win at home. It does. It tells something is wrong here. Charlotte looks, here's what you do here. You take the +3.5, take the dog. If Charlotte goes up 10-7, 14-10, you turn around, take Appalachian State. You try to middle it. And that's what we do here. You saw what we did last week in the Iowa State, Kansas State game. We middled it. We caught both sides. That's why you join the Discord. Get on the Degenerate Gambler Discord. Got tons of guys, man, all over the place. Go to wap.com. Go to Howie Dewey on YouTube. Join the Discord. You can't beat it. $24.99 a month. Join for college football. We crushed it last year. We're off to a great start this year. Guys, this line cracks me up, this next line. We got Western Illinois playing at Illinois. You think, big, solid, in-state rivalry. The line's 47.5. When's the last time you saw a line 47.5? And they'll probably cover it. I can't take the dog in that. 47.5, something that's just crazy. You're going to see like a 40-0 halftime lead. Western Illinois is bad. And that's the big. So, look, I'm not going to give you the rest of these games. Georgia Tech, Colorado, I'm going to tell you that's my favorite game of the night. Join the Discord. Go to howiedewey.com. Howie Dewey on YouTube. And join the Degenerate Gamblers. And I'll give you that. We have Auburn at Baylor. That's a scary game. UNLV, Sam Houston. Sam Houston's +9.5. They could win that game. UNLV's defense is just terrible. We get into Saturday, Texas, Ohio State. I have no lead on that game. I'll sit back and have some popcorn and watch it. Flip a coin. Either Texas is the best team in the country or Ohio State is probably repeat of last year. I don't love that game, but I do love a couple games tomorrow. Florida Atlantic, Maryland. Maryland's -13.5. I like that game. You get into later on, you have Alabama at Florida State. Florida State's +13.5 at home. I have a nice lean on that game. I like the home dog. I'm not going to bullshit. I'll take it to 14.5. Marshall plays Georgia. Georgia's -38.5 at home. I have a nice lean on that game. We have a few other games. We got Penn State 43.5 point favorites at home. Tons of games. But look, just join the Discord and you're going to get all kinds of knowledge. Speaking of knowledge, man, wait till this dude coming on right now. If you like NFL, you have feelings on NFL. We're going over props right now, baby. We're going over the NFL. We got props. We got my man Mehul Patel coming on right now, and he's going to go over the system that he used last year, which he crushed. Made him a lot of money. So let's bring him on.
Hey, man.
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Hold on. I got you right here. I just can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, man. Clear as day.
All right.
So, guys, here we go. We just went over college football. And now you're going to get some knowledge, man. I got my man Mehul Patel. And this guy last year came up with a system. Last year started using it towards the end of the season. And he'll go over it. And basically, he just analyzes offensive lines across the league. We're going to go over some futures. We're going to talk about preseason, what's looking good, what's looking bad. I'll just toss my Jets in there because every year they're looking bad. There's just
They're looking bad, man.
there's
And
no help.
Tyron Smith, is he
Oh,
hurt? Tyron Smith?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a huge problem for them.
so look, let's start. Tell us a little bit about just the system that you're using.
Yeah, pretty simple system. So, PFF has grades for every single positional player, and they update it every week. What they don't do, however, is give you, for example, if you looked at the defensive backs for any team, they grade them individually. They won't take the average grade of all the players to figure out how well the unit is playing. They really look specifically at the individual. So I just do all of that manually to kind of see which units are trending in the right direction. And PFF does such a good job of breaking it down against the run, against the pass. They do the same thing with the offensive line. There's a lot of information out there on wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks, but that ignores 80% of the other guys on the football field. So last year I just took the approach is I'm going to look at the other 80% of the guys, and PFF gives you enough data, but they don't manipulate it for you. You have to do that manually. And the other thing that they do is you can't download any of the stuff off of their site, so you have to manually put it into an Excel spreadsheet and build it out. It's a little tedious, but you know what? It really helped me narrow down some of the picks I liked every week. And we saw it when we did the playoffs. We had a nice little run there at the end of the year, particularly with some of the props. And so football is a simple sport. It comes down to the line of scrimmage. So I just started looking at the offensive lines and defensive lines and kind of looking at their grades as units, and then specifically how do they do against the pass, how do they do against the run, and then look at who they're playing and try to see if there's some sort of inefficiency there. And sometimes there is, but a lot of times it's what you would think in football. If you've got 16 games, 11, 12 of them are really evenly matched. And then you're looking at the 4 or 5 that you really have a good conviction, good feeling about.
Well, you did. The first time I saw this is there was a playoff game last year towards the end of the year, and I know it was the Lions, right? Because you came on and you gave us a prop, and the prop was basically how many sacks. I can't remember who it was.
Oh no, that was the Super Bowl. It was Milton Williams.
Super Bowl. And you basically went with the offensive line situation, and we got him. He was like plus 240. And I think he had 2 sacks. All he had to do was get a sack, and he had 2 sacks before the half.
Yeah, no, and it was that left side of the Chiefs' offensive line, which they used a first-round pick to fix, which makes sense. He blew that. The left side pretty much lost them the Super Bowl. The Eagles' defensive line just swamped them, and it seemed like a good bet. And what was interesting about that prop is it started at plus 240. And by kickoff, I think it was definitely below 200. It was plus 180.
People knew. People had your system. They were using your system.
It's not a complicated system. It's just very tedious. It's very tedious.
We'll be using it a lot this year. Because listen, it worked for you last year.
Oh yeah, that last year was fun. Usually by the end of the year, I have some misses, and last year was a big run up, and I expect to do well this year. I hope to do well. It's football. You never know. Crazy things happen, but PFF is a great product if you use their data.
Yeah, and if you joined the Degenerate Gamblers, you go to WAP.com. Just join. It's $24.99 a month. Go to How We Do It on YouTube. We're going to be going over games every single week. And we start off next Thursday with before we get into we'll go over the games because we're going to do this next week with official games coming up. But let's talk about some props right now, and let's start with win totals because I I have to put this out here right now. I'm a New York Jets fan,
I'm
and
sorry. I am sorry
yeah,
about.
right now, uh, under under 5.5 wins for the Jets, you can get it plus 125. Under 5.5 wins, I think that's a pretty good bet. I don't see us winning five. I don't see us winning 6 games.
They'd have to go 6-11. They got to play the Bills twice. They might get one against New England, maybe Miami, maybe. But if you really look at this roster and the way they played last year,
Oh,
this defense now is a bottom 10 defense, and I would say it's even it's probably closer to a bottom 5 defense. And I know they got some guys that can play, but as a unit, when you look at that PFF grade and you take the average right now, based on the way they ended the season and the guys they got on the field, they're, I believe, ranked 26th. And that offensive line just lost. I don't know how long Tyron Smith is out, or what's going on with him, but it doesn't look like he's going to start. He has a long injury history. I don't know the last time he played a full season. And you know, Justin Fields just, you can't have Justin Fields throw the ball over 500 times in
no,
a
and,
year.
and under pressure, forget about it. Look,
It's
uh,
going to be tough.
it's going to be tough for us to win 3 games, let alone six. I
Six,
mean,
I mean, look, I still think it's possible for them to win 6 games. What I don't like is this defense, and like the reality is Aaron Glenn's the Lions defense never was dominant.
no,
They weren't a dominant defense. He's a first year coach. Um, I think there's a lot first year coach, first year quarterback in this system. Um, I don't know, and there's, if they start 0-2, then they're going to talk about trading Brees Hall, and then that's going to dominate the headlines for a while. Um, they don't have the easiest schedule. Uh,
no, that's a problem.
yeah, it is. I feel like they can still win 6 games. I do, and I'm not a Jets fan, and I think they're bad. Um, but it's a tough one. I actually lean a little bit towards them winning 6, but I can understand why you don't think they will. I
I
mean,
don't. I don't. I think we're screwed this year. I'll be surprised if we win 4. But I'll tell you another one that I love. And you talk about a team with maybe not as hard a schedule as the Jets, but they've improved their offense a ton. The New York Giants over 5.5 wins
yeah, no,
is
I like
minus
that.
110. How do
I
you
like
not bet the over on that?
Yeah, I mean that one I have a lot more conviction for, because that defense is going to keep them in games.
The defense is decent. Jackson Dart is 1,000% increase help over who they've had the last 7 years. I
No,
mean,
I mean, look, that the defensive unit as a whole is pretty decent.
yeah.
They're not gonna. The secondary has
And I
some
mean, you
issues.
look at their schedule. Dallas could be terrible this year. Dallas could be terrible.
But Dallas
Uh,
Dallas is going to be bad. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking with this trade, but they are going to be bad.
I mean, that trade, just that kind of drops them. I'm looking at the Giants' schedule, and I just think they can pull off 6 wins. I think they can
I
pull
think
off
they
six.
can. Look, their defense at worst is in the middle bunch, and they've got 2 guys that are difference makers. Let's assume the rookie Carter is going to make an impact. He looks like he's every bit as good as advertised. You know, they should get a win off Dallas, maybe 2. Yeah, Philly, they'll probably get mauled, but so is everyone else. Um, Look, they could get a game off Washington. Russell Wilson didn't play terribly. Matter of fact, Russell Wilson on the Steelers beat the Commanders on the road last year. They won that game. And this team's built very similarly in the sense that the Giants are going to rely on their defense. Russell Wilson has historically played on teams where there's a very good defense, and his job is to not lose the games.
Well, here's the thing.
They have a tough schedule, though.
They played Dallas twice, but they play the Saints. That gives them a shot.
The Saints are a bottom 2 team.
They play the Bears. That gives them a shot. They play the Patriots. Gives them a shot. They play Minnesota and Vegas.
Yeah, and think about that. You said Saints, Patriots, Vikings, 2 first-year starters, and a guy who's played 10 games at quarterback. Anytime you have that, you have young quarterbacks that are inexperienced versus a pretty good defense that can rush the passer, you have a chance. You have a chance.
They can beat Washington. I like them to win 6.
I like that. I like them to win. I think that they're not going to get into the playoffs. I don't think, but I don't think that they're ever going to be much worse than 2 games under 500. I think.
Speaking of that, if you think that the Giants could possibly make the playoffs, the line on that, and it's so funny when you go to the very end, you basically have the Jets, Giants, Browns, Saints. But the Jets are plus 490 to make the playoffs. The Giants are plus 680, almost plus 700. And I mean,
make the playoffs.
That's a value play right there. If you think there's any chance they could come out and be decent, that is a value play.
I don't see the Giants getting into the playoffs. I don't. But
yeah, I know.
That's a stretch because I don't know who made the playoffs last year that got worse in the NFC. Most of the teams got better or stayed the same. The Lions probably stayed the same. Eagles are the champs. The Commanders got better. The Vikings, you could make the argument they got better. Tampa's about the same. Packers clearly got better. And the Packers clearly got better with Parsons. And, the Rams, you can say got better with Devontae Adams. So I don't see any of the teams that made it last year that are, barring injuries, of course, that are trending downward. They're all kind of trending upward. And you have, maybe the Bears actually improve this year. Maybe the Seahawks improve a little bit this year. I don't expect the 49ers to, be as inefficient as they were last year. If Christian McCaffrey's playing,
they're supposed to be hugely improved.
Yeah, so I don't love that one, but I do like that I think they can win 6 games.
I'll tell you what's interesting here is your team here, and you can talk about this team because I know you like them for a lot of different reasons, but the LA Rams are only minus 148 to make the playoffs. If you really think they're going to make the playoffs, that's a hell of a value, minus 148.
Huge value. I really like that one. Sean McVay has taken this team to the playoffs with a lesser rosters, with injuries. Grant, the big thing obviously is Stafford. Can that guy stay healthy or not? If he stays healthy, I legitimately like the plus 2,000 on them winning the Super Bowl. There's 8 teams in the history of the NFL and Super Bowl that were plus 2,000 and went on to win, where they were plus 2,000 in the preseason. I think it was Joe Montana's first one, Brady's first one, both Eli Manning Giants teams, the Kurt Warner Rams, and I believe the 6th one was the Ravens when they had that killer defense. And then the Eagles when Nick Foles and Carson Wentz were the quarterbacks. That's 7 of them. I can't remember the 8th one. But, this team, one, this guy's won a Super Bowl. You got a coach who's won a Super Bowl. You've got Devontae Adams, who they've added, who has not played with a number 2 wide receiver like Puka Nacua since Jordy Nelson. So his career could be extended. You've got a running back that's got a very good run blocking offensive line. This defense, top to bottom, is pretty solid. Jared Verse is a very, very, very good defensive player. The secondary is a little shaky, but across the board, the Rams have the pieces. And if you go back, what team played the Eagles the toughest in the playoffs? It was the Rams. If Kyren Williams doesn't fumble that ball in the snow and Stafford makes a miracle pass in the snow at the end where they were inside the 20 to potentially tie and take the lead of that game, they upset the Eagles.
And that's a big difference because, you take the favorites, Ravens plus 700, Bills plus 750, Eagles plus 750, Chiefs plus 850. Okay, you can get the Rams at plus 2,000.
I already put that one in, man.
That's a value.
I put $150 on it, and that might.
You want a real value? You want a real value? You can put the Jets at plus 25,000 to win the Super Bowl, and you'd be better off wiping your ass with that Ben Franklin.
No, I got a little exposure to the Rams, and I'm gonna probably before kickoff on Thursday, I'm gonna probably put in a little bit more. It comes down. Look, you can't be a plus 2,000 and not have risk. If the only risk is Matt Stafford staying healthy, Sean McVay is going to do everything possible from the plays that they call, the amount of run plays they're going to have. They aren't going to expose this guy to any hits. They know he's got a back problem, but they also know the guy's tough as nails. If he's healthy, this team, they're a heavyweight boxer. They can knock out anyone. I think they can beat anyone. That defense is legit. And like I said, that run blocking unit has improved vastly. And Kyren Williams is a cowbell. Like, they will just keep giving him the ball. For back-to-back years, they have drafted running backs. So if something happens to Kyren Williams, they've got Hunter and Corum waiting to go in. They're the same type of grind you down running back. And I think they're going to pound the rock, and they're going to be like, we don't want Matt Stafford back there throwing 35 passes a game. We have to protect him with play action and running the ball, and we're going to win with this defense. I like it. I don't see them not making the playoffs. Even if something happens to Stafford, Jimmy G might not be a fantasy football type quarterback, but he does win games.
Yeah, very solid. In the top 5 teams right now, picked to win the Super Bowl, they're all about the same value, all about 700 to 900. Bills, Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, 1,100. But look, let's talk about the 16 that just went from way back to way up. The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah.
They're now only plus 1,200 and win the Super Bowl, of course, because of the Micah Parsons trade. And that's a whole situation where if he stays healthy, you made a good analogy when I talked to you about the difference Reggie White made when he went to the Packers.
Huge difference. And Reggie really changed the franchise. I mean, I know Favre went on to have a Hall of Fame run, but I think sometimes you forget Reggie White left the Eagles, who was wildly popular on the Philadelphia Eagles. And he had some mileage, way more mileage than Parsons did. He comes in and then just absolutely dominates and change that franchise. And Parsons can do the same thing. That defensive unit isn't great against the run. That defensive line, that's probably one of their weaknesses, is the run. And that's going to be tough against Philly because if they match up against them, they are going to have to somehow stop Saquon. But, one thing that happened last year was Jordan Love got his knee twisted, I think, in the first half of the first game.
Yeah.
And he wasn't right for the rest of the year.
No.
And I will say that offensive line ranks. It's a top 6 pass blocking PFF as a unit. They're right up there with some of the better pass blocking offensive lines. This kid, Matthew Golden, that they drafted in the first round, wide receiver, he looks the part. he looks like a stud. I think he ran a 4.29 at the combine, something insane like that. I think he had the fastest time this year. He's got strong hands. A lot of guys that, like Steve Smith Sr., all think that this is actually the number 2 receiver among this class. And that's one thing that they were lacking for a while. I like the tight end, Tucker Kraft. He's good. And Josh Jacobs is he's modern day Marshawn Lynch. He just runs your ass over. And in the playoffs, that's not the type of team you want to play. If Jordan Love is healthy, and now you have a top 3 defensive player on the other side of the ball, you have to consider the Packers. I mean, that's a pretty good money line on the Super Bowl.
I like it this year because a couple things. This is a year I do think the Chiefs run into problems. Travis Kelce's, his mind isn't on the game. His mind is on ass 24/7 at this point. He's done. This is
but he's been with him for a long time, man.
I know, but that's the problem. That's the problem. He was all motivated to show off and play tough for the first year. Now he's like, oh, Christ, I'm done. I got to start a family. I'm getting, the honeymoon phase is over. And I think the Chiefs probably don't do it this year. You got the Ravens, the favorite, and they should be because, I
like the Ravens' chances. The Ravens, honestly, were inches away for 2 years now.
And Lamar Jackson, say what you want. He's unbelievable, man. The guy, he just running, passing. He doesn't get hurt.
He's amazing. He's amazing. And I got to say, the Bills' defense is not good. It's really not a good defense. They're banking on some rookies in their secondary making an impact. I just don't think it's overall a really good team.
Josh Allen's great. Their offense is going to put up points, but you just said it. Their defense, to go to the Super Bowl, to go to the playoffs far, you got to have the D.
Yeah, no, as much as the NFL is trying to make this an offense first, look, the Eagles won that Super Bowl because of their defense. The year before, the Chiefs won because of their defense. They carried them, right?
And the Eagles' defense looks pretty stout again. It looks solid.
The Eagles are going to be very, very tough to beat. But, I think the Rams might be able to, and I do think Packers with Parsons, you can't rule it out. Parsons tends to fade, though, during the second half of the season. He doesn't – he has the reputation of not being somebody who practices that hard. And, so he comes out of the gate swinging. But we'll see. The Eagles will be tough. But as a favorite, I like the Ravens. I asked AI before I got on who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. And you have to really press it. And it said the Bills. If you ask, Grok, whichever AI tool you use, it said the Bills. I don't think the Bills are. I don't think the Bills are even going to get out of the AFC, let alone win the Super Bowl.
No, I agree. It'll be tough. But there's all kinds of futures right now with the NFL. And we got win totals. We got playoffs. All kinds of future specials. If you're going with an individual prop play, you just got to pray to God that person doesn't get injured.
I'm
looking at one right now. This is interesting. For only minus 130, which is a good value, it says Chargers, Raiders, or Broncos to win the AFC West. That to me is just a nice tease because all 3 of those may not make it.
Yeah. Look, the Chargers have a chance. The Chargers have a legitimate chance, and so do the Broncos. Bo Nix is solid. RJ Harvey, they've got kind of this now explosive pass-catching running back. Cortland Sutton looks like this second year with Bo Nix is going to be good. They picked up Evan Ingram. So they've got some pieces, and that defense is just straight legit. The defense is very, very stout. That is going to be a very difficult defense to throw against. I would say really after the Ravens, that's probably the best secondary in the NFL.
What about, I got one for you. This was kind of funny. I'm looking at. For plus 460, which is unbelievable value, if the Dolphins, Cowboys, Bears, and Vikings, the four of those miss the playoffs, plus 460 is unbelievable. And they may not make it. Not one of those teams may make the playoffs.
What were the teams again?
The teams are the Dolphins, Cowboys,
Yep.
Bears,
Mm-hmm.
and Vikings to miss the playoffs. If all four of them miss the playoffs, plus 460.
I think all. I think the Vikings will make it, but the other three, I don't know. I don't know if the other three are going to make it. I mean,
Yeah, the Vikings should.
The Vikings should. The Vikings added to the offensive line. They picked up both guys from the Colts that are really good. Darashaw's coming back. That's a top. Honestly, that's a top 3 or 4 offensive line now. They're gonna be really good. I think they have a rookie starting as well. So we'll have to see how he plays out. But I think Jackson is his last name. If he pans out, like they're going to be able to run the ball. They got 2 running backs. They got Aaron Jones. They picked up Jordan Mason in free agency. They just traded for Adam Thielen. So they're deep at wide receiver. Jordan Addison, yeah, he's suspended 3 games, but Justin Jefferson is like having 2 wide receivers. He'll make anyone better who's lined up like on the other side of the ball because he just commands so much attention. It comes down to JJ McCarthy. If this guy's a bust, they're going to have problems. If he's even average, I mean, that guy's a really good head coach, clearly.
I mean, what's crazy, if you look at the NFC North, the Packers are plus 165 to win the division. The Detroit Lions are plus 185 to win the division. And then the Vikings are plus 350. That's as close as it gets.
That's the toughest division in football because 3 of them can make the playoffs and one of them isn't. So, with that prop you just gave, it's sort of like, do you think both the Vikings and Bears are out in that division? You would think that it's going to be tougher for them because who's playing quarterback for both of them versus the Packers and Lions who've established that they get to the playoffs, year after year with their rosters. So it's possible that just the way it breaks down that they both don't make it because they beat each other up so badly in the divisional games. That's what happened essentially last year. Those games were amazing. And it came down to that last week with the Vikings Lions, right? And the Vikings lost to the Lions pretty badly, and Darnold had a terrible game. And I don't know how many, the Vikings, I think, won 13 games last year and didn't win the division.
Well, here's one for you. Let me ask you a question. How much improved do you think the Atlanta Falcons are from last year to this year?
On the defensive side, they did get 2 guys. I think they got a linebacker and a safety that'll help. But they just lost their right tackle for the year. McGarry's out for the year, and you have a left-handed quarterback. That's his blind side. That you can't ignore that. He was a better run blocker, substantially a better run blocker than pass blocker. They still have Lindstrom and Jake Matthews on the offensive line. Those 2 guys are really their 2 best. So McGarry, while very good run blocker and solid, he wasn't actually their best lineman. I mean, Lindstrom is their best offensive lineman.
We need to be aware when the Falcons play a team that defensively has a strong right side, we'll be all over that.
Yeah, I mean, if Micah Parsons is lining up on that guy, he's gonna, that's tough. That's tough. That can just flip a game script entirely. He's a lefty. Are they improved? Besides the 2 young rookies on defense, they didn't do a whole lot else. this is going to just come down to, is Beat Robinson just going to take over this team? Is Drake London going to jump to the next level? And Penix,
And the reason I'm saying this is because if you look at the NFC South, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on top, and if you think they're going to win that division, it's only minus 110. The Falcons are predicted to come in second at plus 230, then the Panthers at plus 410, then the Saints, who could be the worst team in the NFL, at plus 1500. I don't see how, unless the Buccaneers just have amazing injuries all year, how do they not win that division?
Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, you mean the Buccaneers?
Yeah, how do the Bucs not win that division?
They should. The defense is bad. The Bucs defense is not good. That secondary kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They give up a lot of points, but they're going to be able to put up a lot of points, I mean, that's partially why I think they used a first-round pick on Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, who looks like a stud. I mean, this guy looks like he's been in the NFL for 5 years, and he just looks tough. He looks like, he's just ready to be a starter and get a lot of targets right away. So they got that. They've got Bucky Irving. They've got a pretty decent offensive line, pass blocking. Mayfield, is playing better. Yeah, I mean, Panthers, Saints, Falcons. I don't know. I mean, look, the Panthers might get better, but are they going to win 9 games suddenly? No, I don't think so. The Saints will be lucky to win 2 games with that offense.
Oh, amazing if they win 2. Now, here's a question. I look at the AFC South, and, the Texans are favored to win that division at plus 115. I would think they would have been a little lower. The Jacksonville Jags right now are plus 270 to win the AFC South. And here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Everything I'm reading says that is an improved team.
I like the plus 270 for the Jags.
I mean,
I actually, that was one I'm glad you brought up, because
if they can give Trevor Lawrence a little protection, he doesn't get his bell rung like he has. I don't even know if he knows his name anymore.
They've added a lot of guys on that offensive line, and I think they drafted somebody last year. This is PFF grade wise their best pass blocking grade as a unit since Trevor Lawrence has played. They have Travis Hunter out there now. Brian Thomas he's a star. He may end up finishing the top 10 in yards receiving this year. The defense it's okay, but like the Texans' offensive line is atrocious. It's awful.
And I mean, what's bizarre?
I don't know how CJ Stroud's gonna throw the ball. They don't have a running back. Joe Mixon, there's reports that he may not even play this year. You got Nick Chubb. I mean, this guy's knee has exploded 85 different times. I don't know, how this guy is still even
I'll tell you one thing about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is the toughest bastard in the NFL because he snapped his leg 15 times, tore everything. And he still squats like 1,000 pounds.
It's amazing that this guy – he and you cheer for him. I would love for him to rush for 1,000 yards, but I don't know how he could do that behind this offensive line. Bottom 3 in pass blocking and run blocking. And they did draft a rookie. Maybe he helps, but even if he's a star, the other guys are so below average versus the league. They're going to have the same problem they did last year. And I just wonder how many hits CJ Stroud's going to take. He got destroyed last year.
And if you like the Jags to make the playoffs, you can grab him at plus 156. That's a decent value because they sure as hell got a good shot to grab a wild card.
Wild card, but I think you're right. They could win that division. I mean, do you really think the Colts with Daniel Jones, they've got some pieces, but they're pretty far away from being good. The Titans are probably the 3rd or 4th worst team in the league. So,
and guys, if you're listening, and we're going to go over stats and things every single week and why we're betting certain things. Look, just Go to WAP.com, join the Degenerate Gamblers. We got a great Discord. We got tons of guys in on there. We've been crushing college football. Had another good night last night. I expect a good one tonight. And that's what we do. We do a lot of stats and get a lot of information. Just go to How We Do It on YouTube, join up because Mehul's going to be on here. We're going to be going over every week because we like to make a little cash. That's what it's all about. What else you got, Mehul? Anything else you got as far as some futures that could be good value bets?
I mean, I like. What are the Patriots at right now?
To make the playoffs?
Their win total.
154 to make the playoffs. Win total. You can grab the New England Patriots over 6.5. Well, let's go 7. Over 7.5 wins minus 160.
Yeah, it looks like that went up a little bit.
Yeah.
I liked it at the beginning of preseason, but there's a lot of hype about Travion Henderson looking like he's the next Alvin Kamara, Jamar Gibbs type player, and he kind of does look the part. If he is that effective, I do like that. The other one I like the Niners to bounce back. I really like the 49ers to bounce back. I am a complete non-49ers fan. Matter of fact, I do not like Kyle Shanahan. I never liked the nepotism kid. But it's hard for me to see that roster. And I think they're going to make the playoffs. They have actually a very good offensive line. If they stay healthy, McCaffrey is
if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy and all of these riffs.
And the big number on the Niners is 9.5 and 10.5, because if you think they're going to win over 9.5, it's minus 195. If you think they're going to win over 10.5, it's down to minus 120. So that looks like the magical number.
I can see them. There's a lot of ways I can see them winning 10 games. They got some tough games in the division with the Rams, and the Seahawks are improved. But, Ricky Pearsall was a number 1 pick last year. He got shot during the preseason, didn't really get on board with the team and the system. So essentially they have this number 1 pick that is very good. Explosive wide receiver. They got rid of Deebo Samuel, who's one of the worst route runners ever, and had a massive contract. He's gone. They brought in Brian Robinson. So even if McCaffrey does get hurt, while Brian Robinson isn't the most amazing running back, this is a top 5 run blocking unit. Trent Williams is old, and, you got to see your way to him finishing the season. But if he does, even if something happens to McCaffrey, Kittle, Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, I think there's enough there for them to get into the playoffs. Like, I really think that I just don't see this team not making the playoffs 2 years in a row. I'm not a big Kyle Shanahan fan. I think he chokes in the big games, but he does know how to put a system together that generally gets you into the playoffs. And his job's essentially on the line. If they don't get into the playoffs this year, I don't think he's coming back. So I think that I like that one quite a bit. I definitely like that one a lot. I think that they had a lot of injuries last year. A lot of things went against them. And just a year prior, they were in the Super Bowl, right?
And I think speaking of what you said before, one of the best values here, you can bet right now that the New England Patriots win 8 or more games. You can grab that for minus 160. They should win 8 games. The Patriots in that division,
they should
be 2-0 against my Jets. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they should at least split with the Dolphins. And look, the Bills are not this dominant team. That defense sucks. The Patriots could easily go, 4-2 in their division. Like that, I could see that, and that's half the win total that they need. So I could see that.
Yeah, that's I think that's about it. Look, we'll be live on all these games this year. And like we said earlier, that's you have your favorites, but there's always going to be a team with great value. And I like we talked about it. I think, like you said, Jacksonville could be
There's
the
some
team.
real value there.
Yeah.
I think there is. I mean, this guy has had the coaching staff has not been great since he's been there, and I think that there's a chance here. And there's guys like ETN in their contract year that have to ball out, that actually have the talent to do it. And I'm still not going to say Trevor Lawrence is a bust yet. I think the situation just hasn't been very good. And so that's a team that has some value. Seahawks is another one. Look, if Sam Darnold is given the time behind an offensive line, we saw last year what he can do. If you read this guy's scouting report from when he was coming out of college, I mean, you read it. I did not realize how heralded he was. There really wasn't a lot of knocks against him. And it's clear he needs time. He's not the most mobile guy. He's not going to take off and run. But that's another team. They, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp. They got the coach, I believe, from the Saints, and he loves home run hitting running backs, running to the outside. I think they ran to the outside at the highest percent last year. Ken Walker's built for that. And then they got Zach Charbonnet. So they've got depth at the position that they're going to use the most. They drafted this monster of a tight end. I think Elijah Arroyo. I'm not saying his last name correctly, but he looks the part to this guy, Gray Zabel, this left guard. Oh, my God. You want to watch offensive line highlights? Watch what this guy did in his first preseason game. He was pancaking everybody and just massive holes. So that's another team that might have some value because the defense is legit. That secondary is absolutely legit. And the big question mark's the offensive line. But, look, offensive line, sometimes one guy does make a massive difference. And Zabel looks the part. Cross is supposedly healthy. So the left side of that line is going to be pretty solid if they keep Sam Darnold upright. I think that team has a chance to surprise some people as well, similar to the Jaguars, where
absolutely
there's always, like you said, there's always one team or two.
Yeah, there's always one team that we don't see coming every year. So that's it. Look, that's it for NFL. We're going to be going again next week, Wednesday, because we want to cover, we want to go over a lot of these games and lines that look good, lines that look fishy. We'll go about a couple, but you got to go to wapagot.com, go to Howie Dewey on YouTube, join the Degenerate Gamblers, $24.99 a month. With that being said, Mayhew's going to be coming out talking about games. We'll be going over games we bet, games we're about to bet, games that are good value, games with higher risk. But right now, we're going into horse racing. You can hang out if you want, Mayhew, but I got the Irish Genius coming on.
All right.
I got Frank Lyons going over 2 races in Delmar.
I can smell the manure, man. I can smell.
I actually went into the house yesterday coming from a barn and stunk the whole entire house up.
Nice.
There's my guy, Frank Lyons, baby.
That's me.
He's the fucking Irish guru. We're talking horse racing, and I was just telling you our NFL guy that the other day I walked through the house, Frank. I forgot that I just come from the barn, and I tracked a little bit of horse shit, and the old lady was almost killed me, almost stabbed me in the spine.
Yeah.
Well,
are you sure that was?
On that note, sure? Howie, I'm going to sign off.
Frank,
I know.
Frank, you're lucky you don't have to smell Howie right now.
Yeah, hey, listen, I know. I doubt if that was the case. I don't think that was horse shit.
So we got Frank Lyons. We're talking horse racing real quick. This is one of the weekends we're actually staying away from Saratoga a little bit. We're going out west. We're going out west to where the weather's good.
Yeah.
The women are beautiful, and we're going to surfer country. We're going out to Delmar, and Man, I was watching Del Mar Frank yesterday. Damn, that's a beautiful track.
I tell you what, I had half my life. I was out there 26 years, and I used to train horses and had a lot of success at Del Mar. But every year we used to go to Del Mar for 6 weeks, and I'd bring my horses down there and stable down there, and I could tell you more stories than Walt Disney about Del Mar.
Well, we go to Del Mar, and tomorrow is a loaded slate at Del
Uh,
Mar. A loaded slate.
I mean, it's arguably the in the top five cards of the whole year is the
Yeah.
Pacific Classic. Besides the Breeders' Cup, I can't even think of opening day of Santa Anita. Hollywood Santa Anita Gold Cup Day, but I doubt that would even come close to what we have tomorrow.
No, and let's get right into it. Let's go to that Pacific Classic, Grade $1 million race. This thing will kick off about 6 o'clock tomorrow. You can watch on national TV, and it just brings together just the beasts. You got fierceness. Johnny Velasquez is going out to ride on, and this is a big race. Todd Plescher's not messing around. He's got the cream of the crop on him. So to go over these horses, because look, in my opinion, there's about 4 horses that could win this race, Frank.
4. I see 3. Who's your 4th? Yeah, I can't see this race. I'd say it's the easiest trifecta that you'll have all year, unless they burn each other up on the front end, because they're going to be going fairly quick. And there's one thing about this race that I guarantee you didn't see, Howie. Okay, it's 2 4-year-olds against a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
and the 3-year-old gets £6.
I don't. That's crazy.
So
that's the respect they're showing journalism, man.
So you think that it's just the way the weights are, the way they're supposed to be. A 3-year-old gets £6 at this time of year off a 4-year-old, and you don't think that that's going to come into contention at 1.25 miles?
That's now listen. Why does that happen? Why is that happening?
Because he's a 3-year-old. Journalism is a 3-year-old, and the other horses, Nisos and Fierceness, are 4 years old.
Yeah, now they're bigger and stronger and more mature. They got less weight.
Bigger, stronger, more mature than most 3-year-olds, but not journalism. They're not bigger and stronger than he is, and I've seen him gallop on over the last few days, and several people have put up a video of him galloping, and he looks tremendous right now. So I think that even though he's had 6 races this year, 6 tough races, 6 extremely tough races, and I don't want to build in an excuse, but I think that with Fierceness drawing the rail, the trouble that he's had in the past, it's all come from when he's drawn inside.
Yeah, you're
right. And so he didn't show me much in the Whitney last time out. Now, he may have had an excuse there because he's never run a bad race besides the Kentucky Derby and the second time he ran in the slop at, but Fierceness at Del Mar. What's his memory of Del Mar? His memory is of running 44 and change, 1.25 miles, just coming up short to Sierra Leone. So he is going to remember that, and he's going to have a lot of pressure. And I don't know if he's the same horse, because running that race is enough to empty a horse out. And that's what he showed me last time out, that he's maybe had enough of this game. And the fact that he's drawn on the rail, now he can win, of course he can win, but he'll be a short price. He'll be like 5-2. And I say I don't think he can give journalism £6 any day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
What do you think of the 4 Niso, Spafford's horse?
I
Favorite,
think
favorite?
he's the unknown question there because he's going 1.25 miles for the first time. The furthest he's gone is 1.116 miles. So he's got to run 3/16 of a mile further than that, and he's extremely fast and extremely good. Yeah, the only time he's ever got beat was in the Grade One Churchill Downs handicap. That was his first time out as a 4-year-old. He'd had 3 races as a 3-year-old. He chipped. And he came up a neck short, and then he's run 2 unbelievable races since then, including the San Diego last time out. But I just think at 1.25 miles, that is stretching him as far as he wants to go, I would think. And journalism, getting £6, drawn well. That's his home track. He isn't traveling. This is, we've seen him come to Monmouth, we've seen him come to Saratoga, seen him come to Pimlico, seen him come to Churchill Downs his last 4 races, and he's ran his ass off. He's run really good. And if the 6 races hasn't taken too much toll, he's the winner.
Yeah, it's tough to bet against him. He's in form. The bottom line is the
So,
horse is in shape. Uh, does this 5 horse with Paco Lopez indispensable have any shot at all here?
since you asked me, and I'm going to say no, he'll definitely win. But I see where John Sadler said he ran a great time, but it's like Howie, if you went out and you faced like 5 guys that you knew they weren't runners, they're not a real runner.
Yeah.
And then you faced 5 guys like Ben Johnson and, Usain Bolt. You'd be like, oh, I ain't going to win this.
I'll take Ben Johnson every day after he goes and sees his doctor an hour before the race.
Okay, well, that's true. But that's not allowed in horse racing, Howie.
Ben Johnson's eyes look like they were yellow and green. He looked like a robot. He was on so much steroids. He was that guy could fly when he was juiced to the gills.
Absolutely. Now he wouldn't have beaten Usain, though.
No. But till this day, I still hear stories. I mean, I know he got tasked. There's still guys out there that say Usain Bolt was taking something. I'm not saying yes or no. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for a guy that tall with that,
I heard he took gasoline.
He probably did, and then swallowed a match just right before the match, because that's the fastest human being I've ever seen in my entire life.
Absolutely. Do you know about Kylian Mbappe, who plays soccer for France, and Cristiano Ronaldo? They were apparently only like a few fifths of a second behind him with a ball at their feet.
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah, there's no doubt. So we like journalism and the Pacific Classic. Then we go to the next race, which is the Del Mar Handicap.
Yeah.
You have an interest in this race.
I do have an interest in this race. Last year when I went to Ireland, or 2 years ago when I went to Ireland, I purchased Neaty, who won the San Juan Capistrano last time out, and he pissed in. Howie, when I tell you, do you see the comment on inside too wide, inhaled foes? That's what it says in the racing form, and he inhaled those horses. Now, this race is a double tough race tomorrow, much tougher than that race, but he's improved and he thinks he's unbeatable now. And so I give him every chance in this race, but I just give him a chance in this race.
Hey, 12-1, that's a good value.
Well, it's good value, and these are there's no like really in-form horse in the race. They all have the class to win this race, so it's wide open. I bought Neaty, so I'll be cheering on Neaty. Final Boss looks like he's the lone speed of the race. Well, he is the lone speed of the race. And so if no one, you often look at the form and you say, well, I see how this race is going to go, and its Final Boss will be in the lead for as long as he can stay in the lead, and perhaps it will be the whole way. John Sadler is, great trainer. He's having a great meet. He's in form. Juan Hernandez, he is the leading rider at Del Mar right now. So they're full of confidence with Final Boss because he's the only speed in the race. But often when you think you're the only speed in the race, everyone else thinks you're the only speed in the race, and someone might end up taking you on, to try to go gate to wire or whatever. You've got endlessly in that race. Johnny Velasquez, 12-1. This is a real class horse who was running the Kentucky Derby behind Mystic Dan and has a great turf record. He's 3 for 8 on the grass, and he's won over 321,000 on the grass. And Mike McCarthy, he's the trainer of journalism. Wouldn't that be a great late double for him?
Yeah.
But I'm going with Neaty without much confidence. But the horse that, if I don't win it, the horse that will win it, I think, is the 5 horse, Aititlan.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
This horse is a super class horse. Likes Del Mar, 1 win and 4 starts, 2 third-place finishes, 4 races this year. He's fairly fresh, and he's fresh coming into this. Hasn't run since May 26th, but it's Zenyatta's trainer, John Sheriffs, who brings this one in. And John, trainer of Baeza, Giacomo, among many, hasn't got that many horses, but is, when he shows up, John is as good a trainer as there is.
Well, you know what? At 12-1, I like the value on Needy. I like that.
He's full of confidence. He thinks that he's the man right now. When he came back after his last race, he came over here and he run like 4 or 5 times, and he just missed by a neck one day, but he didn't have any confidence. And now he doesn't think he can be beat. So that's a huge, I want that for every horse that I put a saddle on.
We need that for our horse.
Yeah, well, you need some of it.
You need a lot.
You need a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We got 2 races we went over out west. Frank, I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Heading over, and I'll probably go to the Hopeful. My favorite time of the year at Saratoga is now until Monday, because I love going over there when there's nobody there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love it.
I'll tell you what, my a bit of a thing that I can't stand at the end of the meet is all you hear is slamming doors and trucks pulling out.
Yeah.
And that's, it's over,
They're headed back to New York.
Yeah, but we have terrific racing. And Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, we got to talk about that real quickly. So I was talking to you earlier. I'm watching Kentucky Downs yesterday, and I just explained, how are these purses so high?
Because all of those people are playing the slots in Kentucky. They got a hotel right next to Kentucky Downs. They got a casino in there, and they are lined up 3 deep for people to get off the slots so they can get on them.
Thank God for those degenerates.
Thank God for those degenerates.
Yeah.
And they, like, it's like playing the lottery. I mean, what's got 6 balls and screws you twice a week? The state lottery.
Oh, the state lottery. Yeah. You have no chance.
No chance.
That's all a dream. Yeah, keep dreaming.
Yeah, but they're giving away like $9 million there tomorrow. It's incredible.
There's a $3 million race.
No, there's not. There's a $3.5 million race.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
And like, you got a $2 million race there, and you've got $3.5 million and two $2 million races.
Like, it's like, forget about Del Mar and Saratoga. If I was a jockey, I'm like, just let me ride every race down there.
Oh, well, that's why Kendrick Carmouche rides for Todd Pletcher tomorrow. That's why these guys, Luan Machado has gotten, he's gone up to Saratoga tomorrow. They got the Flower Bowl there at Saratoga, and they got the spin away. That's a great race, by the way. Tomorrow, the spin away. I can't tell you who'll win it, but I do know something. There's a very good filly going to come out of the spin away, because you got a $1 million Gervin 2-year-old of Chad Brown's that won like $1 million horse first time out. You've got that filly from that she's run 3 race Mythical, whatever, she's run 3 races, ran off the board each time, or like, what I mean, she won 3 times. And then you've got Pletcher with that filly. I'll get it for you right now. She is awesome, this filly. Tommy Joe by Into Mischief out of Mother by Pioneer Denial, owned and bred by Spendthrift, and Johnny Velasquez gets off of that one to go out west and ride Fierceness. So you can take these things are all little clues that we get.
Right. It kind of tells you that, why is the jockey doing that? Is he got more confidence? He must have a lot of confidence.
Yes, exactly. So, and he's got a good, great lineup, Johnny, at Del Mar. But they got, they got so much to choose from tomorrow. Tomorrow is great racing at Saratoga, great racing at Kentucky Downs, great racing at Del Mar.
Absolutely. And I'll see you tomorrow, Frank. And we've been crushing it with horse racing, man. I'm going to give you 37 to 1 shots every week, because that's what I do.
You're the man, Howie. You're the man.
I got the wrong horse, but it worked out.
Yes, you did.
All right, guys, we're signing off. Let's make some money this weekend. Let's crush it.
Well, that's our plan.
All right, brother.